Welcome to our first webinar Wednesday. We have Ashley Campbell from Warm Thoughts Communication. She is going to be hosting this amazing session on embracing AI in the energy industry and hopefully answering some of the scary questions about AI and what does it do and how to use it. So Ashley, without further ado, I'll kick it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dina, and thank you, Judy. I know she couldn't be here today, so thank you to the both of you. I wanted to take a quick minute and just say some thanks to our sponsors, the Gold and Silver members. They are making Wednesday webinars possible, so we just wanted to say a quick thank you to all of those lovely logos and the people behind them. So today, as we're going to be talking about AI, a couple different areas, we're going to talk about why AI is so important in the marketing world, some of the benefits, both on the organic side and paid. We'll take a few seconds, maybe even a whole minute to go over a game. I'm going to run through a case study. And then as Dina mentioned, any questions that you have. I do have the chat box open. I'm not sure that I'll be able to see it, but feel free to write in any questions or comments you have. So as we think about the evolution of technology and where we're at today, nobody calls the internet the World Wide Web. Sometimes I say it as a joke, and I love to do that. If anybody remembers the movie You've Got Mail, that came out in 1998. Broadband was a thing, the sound of dial-up. None of the kids will have any idea what that sound is, how long it used to take us to get onto the internet. But once we were on, we were excited. We had instant messenger. Before there was an Instagram, there was an instant messenger, and we were off to the races having a great time. Then 1999 happened in the big dot-com bubble and what's going to happen at 12:01 a.m. And lo and behold, everything was fine. Then our phones came around, and it's before this was even a smartphone. I don't know, again, I don't think kids can even understand that it was an actual little tiny phone. SMS is what they called texting. In order to get to C, the letter C, you'd have to hit it 3 times. Nobody was using SMS. We had our Blackberries. I think my first one was a Nokia. It looked more like Zach Morris's, fake phone. And again, this was a huge deal. So I was very fortunate to be around for both of these times happening. It was just a crazy time. So when we think about how impactful those areas were in our lives and how it completely changed from here on in, artificial intelligence is really that next big reality. So it is going to continue to move forward. It's not slowing down. So this is to help you to say, hey, I'm going to jump on this train, I'm going to feel good about it, try some things out when it comes to AI, and really don't think of it as such a bad thing. So in terms of energy marketing, when we look at where were we, years before and where are we now? Before it was just get as many people as possible to my website. That's all I care about. I want as many eyeballs on there. The problem with that is they could be coming from anywhere that you are not marketing to, and you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. We didn't necessarily have the tools to be able to see where people were coming from if there were bots that were taking over our website. As technology has evolved, that's a good thing for us. So then it turned into, okay, I want leads. I used to work for the very large company Yahoo. My friends used to make fun of me because they'd say Google was better all the time, and I used to defend Yahoo. Well, I ran a lot of campaigns. They were always looking for cost per lead, cost per acquisition, fighting for the last click, everything you could think of just to make sure that you were getting credit for that lead. Now we're in a much better place where we can look at it, what's past the lead. So not only is it about getting leads, you want qualified leads. Now that we're getting those qualified leads, it's great. And you want to convert them to sales. You also have a team behind you. So when that lead is maybe an online form or that lead is a phone call, you have your employees on the other end. And it's about what do they do next? And how do you apply artificial intelligence to make things more efficient moving forward? So it's not just about the leads, it's not just about traffic. It's what will we do with that intelligence and how will we improve and make sure that we can have a better return on investment, because we're all in business and that's something that we very much care about. So the good news is businesses are starting to embrace this. This is a little bit dated, but just looking at the time frame of 4 years, there's been a double in the capabilities that businesses have been using. So if you're just starting to think about AI, that's totally fine. You're where most of us are in the industry, and that's just going to continue to grow and grow. And we want you to use AI so that it can help really give you better insights and learning for outcomes so that you and your coworkers can feel good about the work you're doing and save some time. So today I'm going to go through 5 different areas and disciplines of where we can apply AI and how that can help in the energy business. So I'm first going to go over some predictive analytics. So as we think about this, there's millions and millions of data points that can be used for insights. And we're doing something ourselves manually, it's going to take us forever. So when we lean into the intelligence and automation, that historical data can be very, very useful and impactful. So when it comes to predictive analytics, things like, oh, if you maybe want to, mute yourself. Yes, thank you. If we're looking at things like inventory, so you have a bunch of things on the shelves. They've been sitting there for months, for years. If there was a way to look back and see what type of activity has happened in the past, then you can actually help to predict the future, like it's Back to the Future, Marty Fly. So if you can look at that, that's only going to help you. So again, it's about maximizing your efficiencies and minimizing those excess costs. So by looking into the trends and the data from historical and being able to project out is going to be really great for this industry, especially. And as we think about customer segmentation and targeting, so personalization is huge. I know if I get something personalized, I'm that much more excited about it. For example, I have a motivation app and I get probably 3 different quotes a day. And today's was, yes, you can, Ashley. Even though your voice is terrible and these people are listening and you're hurting their eardrums, you can do it. So that made me very happy. The point here is the more that you can personalize and customize, the happier customers you'll have. So, example of that would be you know that they have a service plan with you. Make sure that when you're sending them a postcard or you're emailing them and there's something with an e-blast, that it specifies that they are special. They are spending extra money with you. They care about your service. And we want to make sure that we retain those customers. So there are different ways to really segment those customers. It could be that they're having their annual tune-up. We want to make sure that we're getting to them, following up to make sure that they've had great service, keeping that open line of communication. And then when it comes to new customers, there's so many different ways that you can segment, whether you're looking at demographics, if they have a generator, how old their home is. The more information that you can use to your advantage, the better. Energy consumption is a great one. So if we're looking at tank monitors, technology is helping us to improve our efficiencies. So when it comes to a customer's mindset, if you're making things easier for them, they're all about it. So I have a friend that has a lot of new technology in her new home, and one of them is a washing machine that will tell you if the clothes have been sitting for more than 10 minutes. I think that's a little overkill, but we're part of a millennial group and we like technology. We like to save time. Okay, so on a larger scale, so operational efficiency, I've brought that up a couple times. There's ways that you can also use this. It's helping you with your truck routes, making sure that you're making great decisions when it comes to how many times are you going to someone's home when labor costs are up, and how do you plan your day more intelligently so that there's less stress on those customer service reps or people that are answering the phone. How do we make sure that we're as efficient as possible so the dollars that we're spending are going to great use? So there's a ton of different ways and a ton of different tools that are doing that. And this is just kind of to give you an idea of what's out there and what's helpful. We never want to throw money away, right? Ever, ever. So when it comes to market intelligence, we care about what our competitors are doing, and that is out there. So that information, that data, it's out there. There's ways that you can purchase it. There's ways that there's privacy concerns, but that is out there. It will help you to dictate what you're going to do in the future. When it comes to pricing optimization, that's also huge too. It's about cost savings. And so again, using insights from artificial intelligence, automation, all of that can help you when it comes to what again are the decisions that you're going to make. So use AI to help to make decisions. You still have your human touch, of course, but AI is very, very helpful when it comes to the decisions that you're making. Lastly, in instant gratification. So we all have instant gratification. So the easier things are for us, the better. Think of grandparents that are trying to figure out a DVD player. That was once them when they were trying to figure out a VCR. And it will probably be us when we're trying to figure out something outside of TikTok. So we got to be patient with each other. But we do like when we figure things out, and we do like productivity. An example of this for me is I don't know if anybody uses PowerPoint that frequently, but PowerPoint now has an AI coach where it will help you when you're trying to give a presentation like this and you're practicing. It will literally like give you guides and say, you're talking too fast. You're doing great. You've used the word three times. And at first, I thought it was going to be very annoying and intrusive, but really, because I had my instant gratification and it also told me I was doing a good job at certain times, it was very helpful. So just know that there's a lot that's already out there. My friend that also, I know I keep on bringing up friends, but a friend that I have that works in a medical office, they have to write blogs. They have to write blogs because they want to make sure that they're being seen on Google and people are coming to their office. There's competitors out there just like there is, and it's a business. They use AI to start to write blogs. So these are really important things, right? They're medical procedures. They're things that you cannot mess up and not tell the public the wrong information. They will use some artificial intelligence. They'll use Chat GPT to get information because what it's doing is it's pulling, it's like Google on steroids. When you put in a Google query, it's going to go in and source it from, 10, 20, 30. And now what it's doing is it's putting the little icons, if you've noticed in the top right corner. So it will come up with that generative response. And on the right side, it will have circles and it will say, this has come from these 10 sites, which is to give the consumer a little bit of, I guess, peace of mind to know that it isn't just user generated. It could be partially user generated. So just a piece to know that giving back time is also what we always want. So leverage AI to help you to make things a little bit easier in your everyday. And ChatGPT is free. So who wouldn't want that? When we think about how we're going to apply AI and marketing automation for results and campaigns on the digital side, we looked at a ton of different research. And when we looked at companies that were actually implementing marketing automation, 80% of them are seeing an increase in leads, which is huge. Of course, you want increase in leads. But the really compelling factor is that 77% of them also saw an increase in conversions. Back to what we were talking about earlier, it's great to get leads. You want qualified leads. If you can lean into machine learning and all of those data points and results and history, you can apply that. And a human would never be able to do that. So apply that so that your ROI is in a much better place than it was yesterday. Okay, so now we're going to go into tools for marketing. So I don't know if anybody has used Canva before. This is a really good tool. It's for a small amount monthly. It's a really good tool for creative. So if you're a one-person show, if you are doing all your internal marketing, if you need to do something for your kids' PTO, it's a wonderful tool to use. So a great use for it on the business side is that you load your brand colors. So for us, it would be yellow and blue. You load those colors and then you're able to use them with any type of flyer or newsletter or any digital piece that you want to put out. So more recently, what Canva has done is it has allowed for you to use AI to talk about images that you'd like to add. So for whatever reason, we decided to ask for a panda riding a bike through a city with depth of field. I do have to say, I've never been this close to a panda, but that does look really great to scale. So Canva is doing a really good job when it comes to really making accurate images. Keep it in mind. Again, a lot of these tools that you're using already, they probably do have an AI component that you might just not know about. So a lot of times it's just like a little star at the bottom or a star at the top. Or if you have an account manager and you're using other tools that you want to know how can AI be integrated, it might be something that's called a virtual assistant or an AI assistant or a chat box. There's so many different things that are coming into play every single day, and some of them are already right at your fingertips. You just didn't know that they're part of your offering. So Canva is great when it comes to creative, right? Because we're in marketing. Now, when we think about other uses, content is huge for marketing, right? and it's huge for websites. We need it in order to have great search engine optimization for helping customers and companies such as yourselves to rank as high as possible on Google and also to be an authoritative voice. So, an example, if you have people that are writing your content for you, a way that we've actually used Jasper that was extremely helpful. We took 10 years of blogs, which is a lot of blogs for a lot of different companies. We loaded it up. That took a while, but once you do it once, you only have to do it one time. And then from there on out, we're able to then reproduce some new blogs by taking in all those 10 years, all that learning. It helps to understand what the tone is, the style, the different topics. And although it's not a finished product, the amount of hours that this is cut down for our development, for our writers, for our art directors is huge. So Jasper is one to look up. There's also all these other little pieces here. This Facebook ad primary text is helping you to come up with different posts, YouTube descriptors. So it's just really a place to start. It's not a place to end. It's just a starting point to help you to be as efficient as possible and really save time. Don't think we have any questions yet. Right. Okay, good. That means I'm doing okay. Great. All right. So on to some other tools here. So this is to give you an idea of how fast Jasper is going to respond. So on the left-hand side, we said, write an article about the benefits of AI. You can give it a tone of voice. I don't know who would give a tone of voice of mean or unfriendly or anything negative, but I'm glad that it gives you that option. It gives you that first paragraph. It comes up with a second paragraph. The great thing about this is that you're able to then give it even more direction. So you might say, I don't want the word revolutionize in there. Or I want it to be 15 characters or less, 15 words or less. So it's really, really smart, very intuitive, and it also is learning. So it's going to give you output. You're going to put input into it, get better output. So have fun with Jasper. Okay, so now we decided to do a side-by-side comparison. So ChatGPT is free. There's other versions that are paid versions that give you a little bit more variables to what you're looking at. So in the white is Jasper and in the black is ChatGPT. So we asked the same question, which is how can I improve my customer service rep's ability to identify leads? We always want leads. We always want sales. So this was a question that we came up with because we wanted to see the difference between the two. Now, when we look at the difference here, it's not outlandish. What I like about it is it's giving you step by step. So if you're a new manager or you have people that are new to your team, this is a great little cheat sheet where just go into ChatGPT, type in whatever you want, get something out there, see if it's something that's usable. And again, it learns. So once you're typing something back into it, it's going to give you that modified version, and you're looking for a modified version. So here it came up with, I think, 5 under ChatGPT. We might have got 4. It cuts off here, but we might have got 4 on Jasper. But also, I'd encourage you to use both because it's pulling from different sources. So you're going to get a little bit different of an answer. So it's a great tool to use. It's a quick one. You can also have your employees try it if you'd like. Have them do, some type of championship where they're all coming up with better scripts. Whose is better? Have a nice little team meeting about it, and have some fun with it. Obviously, you don't want your employees spending all their time on ChatGPT, just like you don't want them watching TV or on their phone. But it is something that's not going away, so you might as well embrace it. And then we wanted to look at what could maybe be either some scripts or different tools and how to be a little bit more empathetic or how to deal with a very angry customer. So if you have someone that's very upset about price, when we loaded this in and asked ChatGPT, what would you say? It was actually very impressive of how their responses came out. So for example, a rep is going to say, if you've said it's very expensive, it's cheaper elsewhere, I completely understand. I'm certainly available to you to talk about discounts and promotions. We're also priding ourselves on these additional benefits. And it gives you really space to be able to add it and make it your own. It also is pretty comical that on the second side here, it says when responding to a customer who's angry, you should approach the situation with empathy. So even our AI knows that they don't necessarily have the empathy, but us humans do, and we want to make sure that we lean into that. So these are just nice tools. I hope that they're helpful. So for reputation management, so I talk to clients all day long about reviews and they're, the necessary evil. And we want more of them always. And of course, we want positive reviews. Sometimes it's actually okay to have a less than positive review. And why is that? If you just had a complete 5 stars all the time, unfortunately, the way that we are, we think that that could be misleading and maybe bots or employees are the only ones that are writing reviews. So it's okay to have not a 5 star all the time. We will say that you always want to respond to reviews. So whether it's negative or positive, how we can use AI and automation here is you can use automation so that the responses don't sound canned and that they're varied. So if you're planning on, doing some reviews of a company that you're thinking of bringing into your home and you're comparing them to others, you're going to look at the stars. If they're 2 stars or 3 stars, you might just give up and go to the next. What happens is that people will look through up to 10 different reviews and they might even sort it by the 3 stars so they can get more of a, authentic view of what people are saying about this company. So how to use AI for that is it can actually learn and punch out different responses. So if I'm seeing the same response, thank you so much. We're so happy you're a client. Thank you so much. It kind of dilutes your brand. And so by using different tools, we use a tool internally here at Warm Thoughts, which automates all of those responses. And also you're alerted right away if you were to have a bad response. Now, it's great to use AI for that. You also want to make sure that you always have a human that's managing that and making sure that it doesn't sound like it's not a human, because although we want to use this and save time, we also want to make sure that we're taking the time to really socialize this and make sure that it's humanized. Okay, so this is the fun part. What AI can't do for marketing. So we're going to have a little photo hunt game. And if anybody doesn't know what photo hunt is, there was the fun photo hunt that was part of magazines. And then there was some that you would see in bars that are probably not allowed anymore. So this one's going to be a clean version. What I'd love for everybody to do, and if you have the chat open, feel free, just throw in the chat where you're seeing some issues with these photos. Thank you, Matthew Campbell. Good last name. Very weird faces. So in the middle there, with the boxes, a lot of AI has some trouble with faces and hands. And you'll see that here. So the gentleman's hand with the gray sneakers on his way to, unpack all those boxes. We don't know what's going on with his thumb, but it has turned into something that is not a thumb. The woman here does have some distortion around her mouth. And the box is up in the air, not the right size, nothing's to scale. And then all the way over to the right, yes, for sure. We see a lot of things that are happening here that we don't want. So if we were to do a post about Veterans Day and this lovely picture would come across our desk, we would not want to post that. The flag is in the opposite direction. The poor little baby has, I think, 9.5 fingers. The man's hands are fused. So just buyer beware that when you are looking at any images, AI has a real hard time with a couple different areas. Um, the way he's holding the babies does look very odd. I agree. It's like he hasn't held a baby before. So, but on the bright side, when we look at the gentleman on the left, who looks like a very friendly technician, and we always want friendly technicians, because his hands are in his pocket, he looks more normal. And it's to scale, so it looks okay. So don't be too afraid to use AI and look up certain images, but just beware that there are some issues that are happening. That doesn't mean that next year these might be cleared up, but for the most part, it's having trouble with images. Same here. So up on the left, there's a lot of extra arms. The child has a couple different arms. And the fingers are a little funny. And then when we look at the family on the bottom right, there's a lot of issues there too. So you just wouldn't want to make sure you'd want to make sure that before you're posting anything or printing anything, putting anything on a bulletin, that you make sure you double check and just know that ahead of time when you're looking for images, AI has some trouble. But we like our guy still in the middle. He's looking good here. And even our trucks look pretty good. You know, you can definitely manipulate so that you put your own, these are stock photos, so there's no like privacy concerns on them or anything. So you can use them to your advantage. And if you feel it looks similar enough, you're in the field, you know what your truck should look like, then go for it. Thank you for entertaining me with our short um, little game there. Okay, so this is funny too. So when it comes to asking Chat GPT something, we asked, what are the benefits of AI? Is AI something that we should feel comfortable using? And Chat GPT's response was human touch is essential despite AI advancements. So we know it, our bots know it, and we want to make sure that we continue to tell our employees that they can't just rely on AI, that they also have to make sure that they bring their human side to everything that they do. Brands need to show their authenticity and trust, and that is not done through AI. Very much so, the way that you show your brand, the way that others perceive your brand is through your website, is through your workers, and that is not AI. So we just wanted to make sure that we put that little plug in there. That, of course, this is about an artificial intelligence and how there might be some scary parts and not so scary parts, but just human touch is always the most important thing. Okay, so we always like to talk about wonderful results. So I'm going to walk you through a paid media example using marketing intelligence and marketing automation. What I've shown you before is more on the organic side. So we talked about some search engine optimization, and that's organic as well as blogs. So here we go. So on the left-hand side, this was a home services campaign in the last probably 6 months. The time period for this was 4.5 months. $4,000 was spent all on paid search. Impression share was about 40%. What we really care about is our leads and our cost per lead, which was $400. Then when we look at the same time period and we applied marketing intelligence, which means machine learning, artificial intelligence, the mix actually changed a little bit so that when you go through goal based, where you're saying, it's not just about spending this much on paid search and spending this much on Facebook, it's about getting to the end goal, the end cost per lead of 250 or whatever we set that goal to be. It changed where that spending went. So 93% of it went to paid search, but the machine itself learned that when I spend 7% on Facebook, I'm going to get a better return. I'm going to get more qualified leads. And so when you let the system run and use insights, it does a really great job. So our CPL of $210 sounds a lot better than 400. So I like percentages. So what does this look like on a percentage difference? So lead volume, of course, we want that to be higher. That was 74%. When you think of a very small increase in spend to get 74% more leads is huge. And again, this was based on paid search and Facebook marketing. Our cost per lead was down almost by 50%. So all signs point to it's a great strategy. And then how is AI doing it? What's the secret? So as I've mentioned, it is machine-based learning. So it's able to track users from where they're searching, where they're clicking, and then making that form. If they're not pulling the trigger and putting their information in, we're still following them around. And once they're on your website, that is first-party data. So you do have that data. Then, when it's learning and understanding what to do next, it knows where to reallocate budgets and where to then allocate budgets based on where people are moving. And that has to do with the paid search and Facebook. It also looks at an algorithm that goes out at least 30 days. So, really, what it's doing is just continuing to perfect its data. And then, because it's able to perfect the data, it's optimizing constantly. So, that pacing algorithm over the 32-day period might have started as 14 and then 24. And it normalizes to better understand what is that sweet spot. Again, all things that us as humans could try to do, but it would take a very long time and it would never be as quick and efficient as the Terminator. And then when we look at how does the human side come into this? So although we have the machine learning, and this is what this case study was based on, there was also the human touch. So our team is also making sure that they're as involved as possible and making tweaks because we can rely on the machine for so much, but then to really get that extra mile and to know that we're feeling good about this campaign and what we're going to do next, we can make some bit adjustments ourselves. We also allow the algorithm to do its work, but then we make sure that we make changes and we make specific optimizations for future campaigns and future results. Okay, so a lot of people ask me what are some examples of different tools, and if anybody has anything that they have been using, either paid or free when it comes to AI tools, certainly put that up in the chat box. We'd love to hear about it. So Malmodo, and these are all what I'm going to present on here. I think there's about 5 or 6. They're all pretty new, but they're tested enough. So it's not like it's an alpha. These are out there. As soon as you search for them, you'll get a lot of information. So if you're doing a lot of email with your client, with your customers, Mailmodo would be a great thing to look into because it allows for email templates and they're AI driven, which means that they're getting information from multiple sources of what might resonate well, and it will come up with those templates. Your customer service reps and salespeople and employees can actually tweak them and feed it back into the system so that you have something that you continuously can use. Grammarly. So this has actually been around a while. This is almost just like an extension that can help you when you're writing emails or really writing anything. And it's going to give you not only grammar suggestions, but also style suggestions. So I know that when I've written certain emails, it will give me not even synonyms, just really a different way to say it. And it is really helpful. And so Zoa Zaya. So this is actually something that can be built into CRM. So it's a sales assistant that's going to take some of the work out of it's going to take some of the work out of your manual, and it's automating sales data. So it helps you to enter leads, if there's lead scoring, sales forecasts, so really anything that you're entering into your CRM. Zoho, I believe, is the CRM, and Zia is the actual assistant that can do it for you. Leanne also mentioned that she's using ZoomInfo, Copilot, which is great. Grammarly. I don't know that last one. Synthesia. Sounds great. So if anybody wants to jot those down from the chat, feel free. Always good to look into it. And another thing to think about is with some of these tools, they're either free or they'll do a freemium or it might be paid. So what I would suggest is definitely start small. So for example, Teams, Microsoft Teams, that's what our company uses. And they had the AI version, the premium version. So before we committed to it, we wanted to do a couple test dummies. So I was one of them. And I was very pleased with the notes that came back. So the summary that came back to us was putting it in different bullets, was able to say, Ashley said this, so and so said this. The topics were very clear. And it was really great because it allowed me to put my notes back into an email and back into a PowerPoint presentation so that everything was nice and clean. So again, we start with our free or our freemium, it moves up to paid. And so I'd suggest if you have a team of 20 people, maybe test it out with 2, get their feedback, and then roll it out to everyone. Also, Cloud is great as well. Thank you, Alyssa. I'll have to check that one out. I haven't heard of that one. Thank you. Okay, so metrics. So this is actually pretty interesting. This is about kind of strategic planning, financial projections, looking at different planning processes, and it's all powered by AI. So definitely something to check out. It's less on the day-to-day, how to make things more efficient, and more so about really the larger scale of department planning and future planning. Sniper AI. I mean, this has a great name, anyways. So I didn't get the accent on the E, which bothers me, but it's resume screening and scheduling. It's helping you when it comes to candidates. And we all know that there's a shortage a lot of times when it comes to technicians and employees. So this would probably be a great thing to add to your repertoire. And I did read that it cuts down your screening time by 35%, which is pretty great. So definitely something that's new and different and HR related. We haven't really talked about human resources in this presentation at all, but it's definitely something to look into. And lastly, live chat AI. So there's a couple of renditions of this. I did see that there's one just called live chat. And then this is live chat AI. You can usually tell by the logo is a little bit different there. So this is extremely helpful too. And I would definitely look into this if you are a business where you're getting a lot of inquiries coming in and maybe off hours. You could use this as it's like a chat box on steroids. So it's a little bit more humanistic I don't even know if that's a word, but it's a little bit more sounding like you're a human, which is what we always want, right? So it's a chat box, but it also is in real time. So it's really just elevating your chat box and your responses to people that are coming to your website. What people like about using live chat AI is that it helps to make it more of that human experience. So you don't necessarily know you're talking to a bot. And in doing so, that's always obviously going to help you with leads and conversions. So certainly something to look into. Okay, so a couple final thoughts for you. So as we talked about AI, it's not going anywhere. The train is moving, it's moving quickly. Feel free to jump on it. It's going to keep going on without you. So embrace it if you can. Get your employees to embrace it. You don't need to be spending tons of time on it. There are many different tools that are free. Like we've talked about, ChatGPT is a great place to start. Use it to your advantage. Starting point, not ending point. Making sure that you're going in, and editing and proofreading, especially if this is going to be some blogs or things that you're going to be putting up on your website. You always need to do that triple check. I think we talked about starting small is always great. So if you have a team, you want to make sure that the two of you start it before rolling it out. Certain tools can be costly. There also can be some duplication. So another thought was if you're already using PowerPoint, like I'm using PowerPoint, if you're already using Microsoft, they have a couple different virtual assistants. You don't necessarily have to pay more. You might have to download something, but there's a lot that's already out there for you. And just to take a look and see what's there, test it out, and you might be really happy with what you experience. And then, of course, the authenticity. Google has done research that says AI is not going anywhere when it comes to marketing. It's going to help with achievements in marketing, but it also saves time, but it's not the end all be all. And we still need our own empathetic selves and really the success and the expertise that we all bring to the table. So that will not go anywhere. And then Chat GPT for Teams. That's great. I didn't realize that. We could use that for Microsoft Teams. Awesome. Great. And I think I probably ended a little bit early. But Dina, if there's anybody that has any questions, maybe we can have them unmute or put it in the chat.
Absolutely. And that was excellent. So thank you, Ashley, so much for such a great presentation because it's everywhere.
Yes, I know. Everywhere you look.
Does anyone have a question that they want to unmute and ask, or feel free to type it in the chat? I can read it out loud if you're not comfortable sharing off mute.
Probably putting their questions into Chat GPT right now. What questions can I ask about AI? Yeah, I was hoping if I could have AI actually go over my voice, it would be helpful today. One quick thing that came up at the very beginning for people signing on a little bit later is headshots. So we're kind of always in that phase where we like the headshot from 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But then when people meet us, they say, wow, you really don't look like your headshot, or they're saying it on the inside. There are tools, and you can do like a free week where you can enter like maybe 3 different pictures of yourself, and it combines them to get the best view of you. And it has headshots. So if anybody was interested in doing some headshots or getting that for free, instead of spending a lot with a photographer, definitely look into AI headshots. And that's a good question, Leanne. That has come up before. How do you suggest companies go about creating AI use policy? It's definitely something that I would first look into just by going to our favorite, going to Google, because each of you can have a different policy versus what's out there. So I think just staying close to what your employees are doing, and if there's a success story when someone's using AI, great, we'll use that as a positive. If there's a negative side, it's also okay to use that too, just like we went through the games, because there's positives and there's negatives. So I would probably start just by maybe motivating people to use it for one specific thing. So we used it for the CSRs and helping them with a script. Keep it really simple. This is what I want you to use it for. Let's go back as a team and talk about what the output was, what we liked, how we could use it. And then, as you're walking by people's computers, you'll see what they're doing. But I agree that you do want to have some sort of policy. It's hard to implement a policy before you know how people are going to be using it. So it's a great question. I would just be mindful and kind of make sure you're monitoring and go from there. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's attention. And I know there are some people on the phone that are not yet members of Women in Energy. And this is my first year in this industry and at Warm Thoughts. So I joined and I had my first conference that I went to, I think almost to the day last month. And it was awesome. So it was very insightful, very welcoming. All the panels were very impactful and inspiring. So if anybody's on the fence, definitely reach out to Dina and Judy, go on their website, um, reach out to me, really anybody that's a member, they can tell you that it's a really, really great resource. And if anyone wants to be in touch with me, certainly reach out. These are some ways that we help businesses through our marketing agency. So I really appreciate everybody's time today. I hope that this was helpful. And thank you, Judy and Dina, for having me.
Ashley, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that participated and joined. We appreciate you spending the lunch hour with us.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.